So now we've got to grips with the idea of strings and integers, we can start looking at the difference between these two programs, HelloAge and HelloDATABirth, and actually look at another example. So HelloAge just uses strings, whereas HelloDATABirth is a bit more sophisticated because it converts the user's age to an integer, and then it can calculate the year that they were born in. So with HelloAge, it doesn't matter what the user types in as their age, this program just sticks that string, whatever they've typed in the output with no conversion. So if you type in the numbers 2 and a 5, it'll print out hello 25-year-old Chris. If you type in the words 25, so spelt out there as 2 words, it'll put that in. Or you could just put in the, and it will put that in. It doesn't care what you're typing in. It just uses that string of characters, whatever it is, and puts it in its output. HelloDATABirth, though, is, as I said, more sophisticated, and the key part of that is this line, this third line here, where it converts it takes whatever the user has typed in as their age, the number, and it converts that into an integer. Okay, and the problem with that is, that's more sophisticated, but there is a problem. If the user types something that isn't a number, then Python will have a problem. So if, in this case, the user types in the words 25, it won't be able to do that conversion until you get this horrible red error message. We'll find out later on in the course how we can deal with that and give the user maybe a more user-friendly message, something like, please just use numbers, don't try and type the word in, whatever. But at the moment, if you try and put in something there that isn't a whole number, Python will fall over on this line and give you an error. Okay, it's just not smart enough to convert English to a number. So, as a final example in this set of 3 examples, we're going to look at the idea of f-strings. Now, this is a new idea. If you've done Python before, you may not have come across this because it's fairly new. It came out with Python 3.7, I think. And you may have noticed that in HelloDATABirth, when we wanted to come to printing the output, we got this string, we got this number, the year of birth, and we had to convert it into a string. So when it says you were born in, we take the year of birth, which might be maybe 1995, and we have to then convert it into a string. It's very tedious, using this str to convert things into string when you've got to print out lots of numbers. And sorry, I said Python 3.7. Python 3.6 introduced a new way to do this called f-strings, F standing for format. So there were actually earlier versions that Python used for doing this, but f-strings, I think they're a really nice way of doing it. It's a really nice solution. And it means that instead of using this str function to convert something into a string, we can just use put the letter F in front of a string. So how does that work? So we've got something we want to print out. We put we type our string in the inverted commas. So you can see that here in this example, I've got hello age year old name, or you were born in, and the year of birth. So we put an F before that to say this is going to be a formatted string, and then any variables we want to put into the middle of that string, we put them in curly brackets. Okay, it doesn't print out the curly brackets. So I think this is easy to understand with example. When you get used to it, it's very straightforward to use. Just looks a bit unfamiliar to start with. We ask the user what their name is, what their age is, and what do we do with that? So the first line of output, it says hello, takes the age, which in this case the user typed in 25, and it puts that into the middle of the string because it knows it's got to format this string using this F, because the F is telling it to format the string. So it puts the 25 where the brackets age are, and then it puts Chris where the brackets name are. When it does the next one, it puts 1995 where the brackets year of birth are. So it takes out it looks for those brackets and replaces that brackets and a variable inside it, and it replaces that with the value of that variable. So if we look at that code Here's the code in idle. It's exactly the same as previously. It's just that here we don't have to use that str thing to do the conversion. And we don't have to glue the strings together. We can just create the string that we want to format. So there's the string we want to format. We tell Python it's going to be formatted using the F, and then we put variables into the middle of it. And although these are kind of simple examples, you can do much more formatting. We'll see that later on in the course. You can do much more sophisticated formatting than just sticking the variable name in. You can, put the number of decimal places or the width of the variable, the width of the formatting you want to put in. So we'll see that later on. Okay, that's the idea of F strings and comparing some of those examples. Next up, we're going to look at building a simple calculator.